say?
My dad is actually a diehard rock guy, and I had a mom who was all about the soul, the Lauryn Hill, the Mary J. Blige, all of that stuff back in the day. Those are the good ones. Those are the good ones, honestly. But yeah, I was always around music, and my brother was into like the '90s hip hop. We would listen to tons of different stuff. We listened to DJ Jazzy Jeff, Will Smith. You'd kick like Nas, Pac, Biggie.
Who's your favorite though?
Oh God, of that era, wow. I'd have to say Pac just because of like the influences.
Even with the beef, did he have Biggie?
I mean, even with the beef, still, yeah, I'd have to say because I just think that like the stuff he introduced into like the conscious rapping, he spawned people like J. Cole. He spawned people in the game now, and yeah, he paved the way. They both did though. I can't discredit anything on Biggie's end whatsoever. But at the same time, like. I've always loved Pac's music, and it's always related with me. Like, I think that the samples he uses from soulful aspect as well are something that kind of influenced me as well. So that's kind of.
What do you think about the controversy of his music?
The
With the
controversy.
thug life, but also talking about some of the social problems that were taking place during that era.
I think it's necessary. I think that's something that needs to be talked about. I think portraying that era like it's not sweet. Where they grew up was not a great area, and he's not going to portray this lifestyle that he didn't live. You know, you can't expect him to portray a suburban life when he grew up in the streets. He's going to talk about drugs. He's going to talk about the stuff that molded him, and that's who he is.
That
so
shaped who
yeah,
he was
exactly.
as a
That made
person.
him into the person he was. So.
That's great. I completely agree with you. But that definitely can put your life at risk sometimes. Don't you agree with that?
I mean, it definitely can, and I mean, there's stories that like get surfaced that like can also do that as well. But at the same time, that's a risk you take with as a musician or somebody that's going to be a political voice or influence the generation. Because if you look back, even at like an NWA standpoint, NWA inspired riots. They inspired people to.
NWA, I don't really know.
You don't know NWA?
I don't.
Ice Cube, Eazy-E, all of those guys.
Okay.
You know NWA, straight out of Compton.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, so like I've just always thought that music influenced like people so much, and like you take that risk as a musician for speaking out on occurrences that don't get spoke about. F the police, that was such a huge controversial thing, and they started a movement with that, off of that, and changed the environment in Detroit. They got booed off of a show. They had police come on stage, tell them that they couldn't perform that song, and what did they do? They performed the song.
Went on anyway.
They performed the song and created this whole environment.
So, have you heard J. Cole's new album?
Oh, of course.
What's your favorite?
Oh, wow. That's a really hard one. Honestly, I love the KOD track or Brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Brackets was a great one as well.
Oh, Brackets
the intro was the interlude song was great as well. I really vibed with that. But every time J. Cole drops something, it's a classic. So I know what I'm getting into, and I listen to it. So.
It's always so good.
Yeah.
But I did think that some of the introductions were a little bit weird and a little bit off-putting for me.
But that's the thing. He has to stand out as an artist. He has to stand out as an artist. He has to remind people who he is, and like. He's trying to save a generation that's struggling right now because we have kids on drugs. Exactly. The music is the reason that the kids around here are popping Xanax. They're doing drugs. They're doing a lot of different stuff.
Yes, and I've actually heard some artists say I don't actually do the drugs that I'm rapping about doing. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's true?
I would never portray something like that personally. I don't agree with that because I think you're just glorifying something that isn't you and not staying true to yourself, and that's a red flag in itself right there. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
They're not talking about anything that actually happened in their life or any struggles that they encountered. It's just let me go pop a Molly and Percocet.
No, exactly, and that's the problem. There's a reason he named he named it Kids on Drugs. He named it Kids on Drugs because he's trying to save the youth and make the youth realize. If you go back and listen to the album, every song talks about different drugs. It talks about kids on different drugs. He talks ATM is count it up. He's talking about smoking marijuana. He's talking about kids that he says it in the songs. He says the one about Xanax, popping pills as well. He talks about controversial topics because they need to be addressed.
I completely agree. But there was one song I was a little bit confused on because it sounded like he was endorsing what he was against, and then I have to kind of reevaluate. Okay, this is what he's talking about. We need to not do.
Yes, yeah. So that's what people get caught up in. They see J. Cole through this layer, and they're like, well, he's rapping about it just as well. He's talking about it through a third person introspect. He's talking about it that these kids are doing it. These kids are doing it. I'm portraying these people out here. I think that type of rap is something that we lack in the industry right now, and he brings that back. And even people that don't like J. Cole still know all of J. Cole's music.
So what is the future for this generation, you think, this generation that's addicted to drugs and the money, and it's all about the money.
The future, I mean, it depends. I mean, we are the future in ourselves. Like we push the future. People say that the youth leads the future. So like, I mean, so far as a generation, I think that we have a lot of maturing to do. We have to realize a lot of where we're at with things. We have to realize that as time goes on, that this isn't what we're looking for. And I think we're gonna start realizing. And also the thing that people don't realize, people that are out here, the Lil whatever, the 6ix9ines, all of those guys out here, the real music's gonna last. Real music is always gonna last. They're short bus rappers. They're gonna have a few hits.
And one of his songs is about that too,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. He says you short bus rappers this tall. Yeah. Like he definitely calls them out.
Yeah.
He doesn't play it. He knows what it is. People like Drake, people like J. Cole, people like Kanye know that these guys aren't lasting. They like have the hype while you want it, but you're not gonna last in an industry like this. You won't last. Your name won't be remembered. You don't remember the people that didn't make a difference, didn't do any of that stuff. It will not be remembered in hip hop's history, in my opinion.
But the effect they have probably will be remembered.
Oh, the effect that they have. Yeah, no. There are artists that have really put out songs that have turned people into bad things or turned kids. Oh, 100%. There's no doubt that music influences.
And looking at music videos, like music videos always be portraying like guns.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of different stuff, and there's tons of different stuff in music videos. Like when we see guns in music videos, we see drugs in music videos, we see flashy girls, half naked girls.
Can we talk about the women though? How do you view the women? How are they changing the way that women view themselves, and how the men are viewing women?
I think it's an issue. I 100% think it's an issue, and at the same time though, we're in an era now where artists, like female artists, are stepping out more and more. It's happening more and more. The respect for women is happening. There's a lot of diminishing acts still happening and everything, but I think that we're moving into an era where it's gonna start changing, because I do believe that like people like, honestly, Cardi B popped out of nowhere. Cardi B, honestly, like people like that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I think she's very influential, and I think that there's a lot of different stuff that's happening with female music right now as well, and it's developing. Young M.A. is arguably one of the most. She has some of the craziest bars out of anybody in the entire industry, and literally slept on, and she's a female rapper. And I think that the way that women get portrayed in music videos is often portrayed wrong, but there's a whole art behind it nowadays. Music videos used to be ABC, music videos used to be simple, but now there's arts behind it, and like women being half naked in shots can actually make the music video cool, but there's a good and a bad way to go about it. You know, there's a good and a bad way to go about it. So
I do.
Yeah.
So when did you actually become heavily involved with the music? I know you said your dad had an effect on you actually getting involved.
Yeah.
But when you were actually immersed in it?
When I was immersed in the music, I would say right around 15. That was right.
Young.
Yeah, right when I was a sophomore at the time when I really put out my first song, and then after that it became like an addiction.
What was it called?
It was a tribute to Robin Williams, actually. Robin Williams is one of my favorite actors, and after like he passed away, so it could have been like, it's right around the 15 or 16 area. That was when he committed suicide, and that kind of influenced me, like step out, and like I made this song and I really liked it. I produced it in my basement. It was trash. It wasn't great.
In your basement?
Yeah.
You had help from your friends?
My buddy was there, and he helped a little bit with like mixing and stuff, but nothing I was gonna do was great for my first time, you know.
Okay, yeah.
So that was what, like, initially I got into that, where I did that first song and I could not stop. I loved recording. I loved being in that environment. As soon as I get home, I'd write. I would record all night. I would wake up my mom at 2. So.
Can we hear something from that first song?
I don't have it anymore.
You can't remember a line or nothing?
Honestly, I probably wouldn't be able to. I'm pushing like 20 now. It's been like 5 or 6. It was something really corny. Yeah, it was something really corny. So yeah.
It's okay. So now let's talk about. So do you have any certain artists that you either look up to besides Tupac, like during this current era?
Oh, during this current era, honestly, I think one of the biggest artists, of all time and currently right now, Drake. I think Drake. I look up.
I feel like he's starting to sound a little mainstream though.
Like, you can't name one Drake song that you don't
the
know.
thing is with it is that you can't not bring Drake's name up. You can't not bring Drake's name up in the game where he's at right now.
Write his own music though.
There's speculation, but Drake said it in a song, "The pen's working over here if you guys need some ghost lines." So he literally, that's a lyric from his song. I think it was Back to Back, honestly. Okay. I think it was the one against Meek Mill. Free Meek Mill's out, actually.
Yes. Yeah. It's crazy that he even went to jail in the first place.
That was stupid.
Yeah, it was I don't know. I can't agree with the way that they did it, and also I respect him because I heard last night he went to the tournament game.
He
Like
did.
as soon as he got out of jail, hopped on a helicopter and did
From a
that.
helicopter straight
Yeah,
from
he
jail
did
right to
all of
Miami.
that.
So do you kind of want to tell us like why Drake then? Why Drake?
Because from the time when I was about like 12 or 13, right before like I really started getting into music, Drake dropped Forever with Eminem, all of those. Like Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne's a huge one as well. He's a secondary inspiration. But Drake has been relevant since 2008. You can go all the way back to 2008. Parents can sing music. Every year there's a new Drake song that everybody knows every lyric to.
What's your favorite right now then?
My
Nice for What
favorite.
it's a banger, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Nice for What.
That's a great song. Honestly, my favorite right now that he's released recently, Diplomatic Immunity.
Why?
That was a single off of Scary Hours because he spent 5 or 6 minutes just strictly spitting bars. And it was real bars, real things that made you think twice, and he spit things that were subliminal that you weren't even peeping. He said I got the sauce, now shorties keep claiming Prego. Just the parallels and the lines, they got me, and I was enveloped into this. Another big one was Do Not Disturb. That was a huge one. That was another 5 minutes. I think Drake always has a song on every album where he just verses for 5 or 6 minutes, and those ones are always my favorite because it's like Welcome Back Drake.
In my opinion, the influence that the industry is starting to have on him, I think it's kind of negative because it starts like he's starting to turn a little bit bitter. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no,
Like
definitely.
some of the things people are saying about him possibly are starting to kind of affect his music in a way.
I think he's growing. I think he's growing as an artist and realizing things more in retrospect. I think Kanye went through a phase just as well, where Kanye got bitter for a while. Kanye really started getting intense in the media because Kanye was talking about controversial things, would say stuff that was wrong, walking on the VMAs, talking crap to Taylor Swift. That was like, yeah, because people start realizing stuff, and sometimes it gets inside your head, and I think you have to go through that point of growth to realize things because life changes. Imagine being in Drake's position where you have millions and millions, and any person wants to act like they know you. Everybody acts a certain way to you. That's got to be hard on you. That's got to be hard for your mental state. So I think I got to give him a pass on that. I think I have to give him a pass on that because I think he's done so much for the industry and he stays relevant. There's not 2 or 3 months where Drake doesn't drop new music. I think OVO does a great job, and much respect and love to OVO as an industry in general. Their team is solidified. There's not a weak spot. OVO and 40 are what make Drake, and they're behind the scenes. 40 is one of his producers. He has engineers on his team. This whole team that OVO has is like solidified. They have crazy different guys that do all this different stuff for him. Drake doesn't have to outsource for anything because he has the team that does it, and all of these guys are what made Drake. So. Yeah.
Okay. So when was your first big moment in the spotlight as an artist then? First big gig, and what was it like for you?
My first big gig, oh man, I would have to say like a big one. I opened for Trinidad James recently. That one was pretty good.
Can you tell us who that is?
Trinidad James he's been on multiple different songs. He's a pretty mainstream artist now. I wish I could play something right now.
Gold all in my chain.
Gold all in my yeah. That's Trinidad James. So he's done a lot of different stuff. I think that was a big one. And in the spotlight, all I wanted to do was like touch people differently. That like musically, because I feel like everybody that hops up on stages, like nowadays, it's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff where you have a DJ play a song and it's simple. All I wanted to do when I had a moment like that was to actually like sit up there with a piano or do something interesting, because like that was that moment to me, and like that really opened my eyes to a lot more, I would say, and then that kind of like put me into grind mode to work harder and to get in that position, because I saw a big crowd and I knew what I was doing, and that was kind of.
So when you got up there, what did you do then that was different?
I honestly took a different approach. Because I think a lot of people will stand up there and it'll get boring, repetitive. People spit the same type of bars, hype songs. I took a different approach that was different, and I played a couple songs that were honestly a little bit slower, more vibey, and really like tried to speak more lyrically to people to try and touch on another level. And I think I got a great reaction out of it, honestly.
Okay. So obviously you're a rapper, so you're in the hip hop industry, correct?
Yes.
So what type of things do you focus on when you're talking about subject matter?
When I talk about like, are you talking about
like the things that you talk about in your songs?
The
Like we were
things
talking
like-
about the short bus rappers before and how they talk about drugs and women and all those type of things. What are you talking about in your music?
What I like to talk about in my music is stuff that's relevant to me and relating to other people. I like to tell stories. I'm a storyteller. I made an entire song, Be You. Shout out my director, Josiah Lydon, and Tommy Gristle as well. And those guys, we made a song that was completely like, it was a third person retrospect, like J. Cole almost type song about like an abusive boyfriend story where there's like this whole music video behind it. I like touching subjects that don't get touched that often.
Okay,
You know,
so
like
you're talking about domestic violence in that
yeah,
instance?
exactly. So domestic violence, I have stuff where I have more kickback stuff, I have more trap oriented stuff, but I love the storytelling, original hip hop, lyrical. That's where I get my inspiration from, and that's kind of the artist that I think I've developed into today.
Did you bring a sample of your music today?
I do have a sample on my phone, but yes.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to play it right now.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of talk about current events in your life that are influencing your music?
Oh, current events in my life that are influencing my music. Well, I mean, I just moved, so that's nice. I'm reunited with a bit of my team that I was lacking before, and I was traveling a lot. So being back with my team has really like made me more creative, I would say. So I've got back into the writing process. I'm working on a big project right now that I'm hoping to have out by summer.
Okay.
So right now, current events. I mean, I've just been writing, freestyling, and hanging out with all the people that made me who I am.
So what can we expect from this project that's going to be coming out soon?
What to expect? I think expect a lot of lyrical ability. I think you're gonna get to see a lot of different angles of me as a person and in my daily life that you wouldn't see otherwise. You know, you wouldn't know, because I feel like a lot of people act like they understand the type of person I am but don't get to actually see it. So I'm gonna try and bring that to life in this.
Who are you? How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
That's a really tricky question.
Okay,
honestly.
I'll do mine. For example, spontaneous, adventurous, and that last one kind of hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those are definitely 2 of them. Yeah. I'll keep thinking about the third one. Do you have one?
I think energetic, creative, and innovative.
Okay, those are very good things.
Those would be my 3 things that, and I think kind of make me the person that I am. I like creatively moving on new ideas, making things happen. I like having the energy to inspire my team as well. I think that's a huge thing. So.
Okay. Can we hear about your journey as an artist, like where you started and where you are now?
Yeah. I mean, I
just dig deep into that.
Yeah. So I started. I mean, obviously in my basement, recording on my own little mic, $100 USB mic. Worked my way up to get into the studios. I worked with a couple different studios for a while. Learned a little bit of audio engineering as well. And that was an industry, like a field I got into as well. And I think I started recording in Davenport around like 16 or 17. And I would go out record on weeknights, school nights, honestly, and it was really bad from Cedar Rapids. Oh yeah, my grades definitely suffered. I'm not gonna lie. I've made decisions on music. Some things have happened, but you know, at the same time, I mean, I love music, and I think I'm still on the track that I need to be at the end of the day, and I think that this is where I would like to be.
So what happened after Davenport?
So after Davenport, I would say, I mean, mainly like shows and putting out more music, spreading my name, releasing projects, putting out like merchandise, releasing CDs all happened. Got a bunch of different shows, opening acts, recorded a few different albums. Started working with a label for a little bit as well last year, for a few months, and that was great. There was a lot of inspirational things that it taught me, a lot of life lessons that I learned throughout that experience. But yeah.
So you did talk about how your grades suffered a little bit due to the music. Are there any other areas in your life where there was some conflict due to your dedication to music?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not to get. I mean, like
You don't have to get too into it.
No. Yeah, there's I mean, there's been family suffrage. There's been relationships that I wish wouldn't have burned off of it, because there's been times where I haven't been the person I could because of music, or where things have came into play. And I think that I mean, it affects you always. It's always something that happens. I mean, I've had friends drift apart because of it, because I've been busy doing my thing and haven't been able to do that. So it happens. Yeah, it happens, honestly. But it's what I signed up for and what I love doing. So I mean, I have to take that sometimes. So
okay.
And I do my best to try and balance, though. I do my
How
best.
do you keep everything balanced?
Honestly, I really do appreciate time with friends. I had a love life for a while, and like that was something. Yeah, I had a relationship for a while. Didn't really work out. Yeah, but there was a lot of other different stuff.
Details on that,
I just don't trust females.
Excuse me, as a woman, I highly disagree with that.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but I like to keep the business on the low. I like to keep the personal stuff on the low. Yeah.
I understand. So I've heard that sometimes in the music industry there can be a little bit of conflict with receiving pay. Have you ever encountered that?
Yes. A little bit, definitely.
You don't have to throw out any names or anything, but maybe
Yeah.
give us a little synopsis of what
No,
the
yeah,
situation was.
I've had work stolen from me. I've had projects, ideas stolen
Work
from me.
stolen from
Oh
you.
yeah, I've had work stolen from me. I've not been credited for things that I was supposed to be credited for. It's taken months. I've almost had lawsuits that have happened. But that it's an industry. It's an industry where it's you hunt for what you kill, and everything else doesn't matter. Everybody is in it for themselves. So like I was promised things. I was told contracts. I've had multiple occurrences, but at the end of the day, you always have to see those things and look at yourself differently. You know, you have to
Turn
move
the L
past
into
those
a
things.
lesson.
And yeah, exactly. Turn the L into a lesson. Best Life, Chance the Rapper.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Chance
yep.
to Rap Cardi B.
Yep.
Go listen to it.
Yeah, it's a great song. But yeah, that like I learned a lot through it. I think it puts you through a lot and it makes you realize a lot of stuff. And like it makes you like not want to take things for granted that you currently have. That's what I would say, because I think I realized the more that I worked in the industry and the more that I saw stuff, I saw teams that were doing stuff, big things that were not as put together as my team, and I started realizing, you know, like, wow, like I'm not going to take these guys for granted because these guys could do all of this exact same stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah.
So who is your team? And
Well, my team is surrounded. I'm a part of like I would say it's a group, but like a family. We're all just really close. It's called 750. They're all great people.
what's that stand for?
It's just like it's a family term. It's kind of like on the low, and it's
On the low.
yeah it's kind of like on the low.
So we don't
But
need to know.
those guys are definitely a part of my team. I have my photographers. I have my buddy Josiah. I got my buddy Adam. I got a bunch of different people. Shout out Jaimin.
I love Jaimin. Yes.
Yeah, shout out Jaimin. I've got people that have held me down. My best friend Kate I grew up with has run all my business stuff, my contracts, my transactions. So, you know, I have people, and the thing I love about my team is I don't ever have to worry. I know that when I call or something like that, they're ready.
They got you.
They got me. I don't ever have to question it. I mean, I have my stylist that I called today, and my stylist said, I called him and I said, hey, come over and help me
like you're
get
about
all.
to be seen. We're on the radio.
Yeah. There's a video camera here, so you know,
Right.
yeah. So I mean, I am gonna be seen, and we got some photo shoots today. But yes,
Can I join?
Yeah, for
I
sure,
wish I could.
absolutely.
of course, yeah, of
I'm
course.
just kidding.
I'm
But so I mean, like just like that. I mean, calling people and I know that they'll always follow through. I trust those people. I don't gotta think twice about it. And I think that that's something that I learned to not take for granted in this experience.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah.
So let's go on to your goals when it comes to the music. What's next for you? What can we expect from you? Like you were talking about, you have this project coming up in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, more shows. A lot of different areas that I'm going to be working into. Outside of honestly just artistry in general. I'm getting a strong appreciation for the designer industry. I'd love to dabble in that, and I think that there's going to be moves that are going to be happening outside of that. And I think I'm taking this in just a really creative direction where music is going to be my main focus, but I'm going to have a few different other things I'm working on the side. Yeah, so I think that, I mean, in the next direction, I mean, blow up, buy my mom a Range Rover and get in a big house.
Oh, Range Rover. Not a Benz or nothing. Like, why a Range Rover though?
I just feel like that's like
Status symbol.
I feel like that's like the saddest symbol of giving your mom a key for a Range Rover. You know,
Yeah.
like you brought me up here, like
You did
like
all
to
this hard work
yeah
for
make
me.
make
Paved
my
the
family
way.
yeah you guys paved the way for me, and like my goal is to always get big and help my people that came up with me, and that's my goal, and to do something bigger than myself. So I hope at some point
A lot
I'm
of
able to do
artists
that.
talk about that too, like helping people who help them out along the way. I know Big Sean actually dedicated that song to his mom. Do you have any songs like that?
Yeah, I actually do. I have multiple different ones that I've dedicated to my mom. I've talked about my mom multiple times. I've dedicated songs to my sister. I have a song about my sister as
How
well.
old is she?
My sister is now 18.
Oh,
So,
she's
yeah.
an adult
Yeah,
now.
she's an
She
adult
knew
now,
she
yeah.
wanted.
She's gonna be a doctor someday, hopefully.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Speaking into existence, she's going to be a doctor.
Oh no, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, do you have any mentors in the industry or people that you look up to?
Mentors in the industry. Honestly, yes, I did have a couple. As a kid, when I was around 15 or 16, and I was kind of learning how to rap. When I first went in that first studio, I had an engineer that really took me in and showed me a lot of stuff. Talked to me about rhythms, taught me a lot of different stuff. Showed me books. gave me books. I literally had like homework from studio sessions when I was a kid, and I would learn and go home and take that, and like you learn different ABC patterns. You learn how to approach things.
ABC patterns.
So like I mean, there's AB raps, there's ABC raps, there's all these different types of
What
rap
is that? Can
patterns.
you kind of
It's like a
tell?
beat pattern.
tell us
It's
what that is?
it's like a beat pattern. So how you approach the beat, your type of flow and style can be portrayed differently on like the pattern scale. Because some people like have different approaches. Some people like you hear flows that are the same. You hear styles that are the same. The way that they hit is also a big thing as well for the ABCs. Like the way that they hit, if it hits on the quarter note at the end, if it hits on the So there's a whole lot of different stuff into the logistics of it. But
Okay. So if I gave you a song, could you tell me if it was A or B pattern?
I don't know necessarily, but yeah.
Okay, perfect. So why don't we talk about, does your family kind of support you as becoming an artist? Do they think that music was a direction that you should take?
I mean, there's been struggles. There's been struggles. I mean, at first, I think that it seemed like that they wanted to treat it as like, oh, it's a phase, it's this, and then like they started
We're not
realizing,
passionate.
yeah. They didn't really understand where I was trying to take this at first. And to be honest, at first, I knew I loved it, but I wasn't really into it. But they've come to support me, and that's been the main thing. And over time, it's became better. So.
Okay, Clayton, I'd love to thank you for being on our show today. We're going to go to commercial break. I hope all of you stay tuned because we're going to listen to more from Clayton. I'm interviewing Clayton. Say hello, Clayton.
Hi.
Yeah, he brought his little entourage with him. That's kind of funny. Well, let's jump right back in. Let's jump right back into the interview. So, do you have any significant love interest in your life right now?
Oh yeah. I mean, I live on a college campus, so there's a few. But
oh, there's more than one.
I don't know. I'd say I've got my eyes out right now for a couple different ones, but I mean.
I hope they're not listening right now. To know that they're not the only one.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm pleading the fifth. Honestly, I think that's the best place for me to
Hold
go.
on. Do they know that they're not the only one though?
I
Do they
mean,
know
like.
that?
I don't think anything's ever been established where it's, like, where
See,
it's.
this new generation and the fake dating. Crazy.
Yeah.
So you don't want to tell us any more about that?
I mean,
How would you meet these girls? Where do you usually meet the women you're picking up?
I mean, honestly, it depends. I've met women in some interesting places, to be honest.
Like
I mean,
what, though?
I mean at parties. I mean at bars. I mean usually that's a big one, and then also at other functions as well. So I
I
mean,
met my boyfriend in the bar.
you met.
Shout out to Sharky's.
Nice,
Oh.
nice. You met him at Sharky's.
I met him at Sharky's.
That's
yes.
that's crazy. That's
We
crazy.
like went on a little walk afterwards and everything. It was really cute.
Yeah.
Very
Okay. So then like that like set the tone for you guys, right?
Exactly,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. He
Yeah.
wasn't on no like trying to like get anything from me.
Yeah,
He was just
yeah,
like trying to get to know me. And I was like really surprised. I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah.
But
He swept you off your
that's
feet.
my man now.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about your strengths as an artist. What do you think your strengths are and how do they benefit you?
Oh wow. I don't want to sound too cocky with anything I say.
No,
I feel like
okay.
for this type of question, but
Cocky and
honestly-
confident are completely different.
oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, confidently, I can say like lyrically, I can think in my head very far ahead to where like I can read beats, I can read like where directions of songs are going. I can almost like predict some artists like lyrics sometimes because it's like it's just simple, It's very simple. So I think one of my strengths. I mean, obviously, I like audio engineering my own stuff. I don't like having other people do
What
that
exactly
stuff.
is audio engineering?
Like the mixing and the mastering aspect
Okay.
of it, and I've had other people do it, but I prefer to do it myself and to have a creative hand in it because I think that it's way more genuine. So I think that's a big aspect for me, and then also I would say my lyrical ability and my metaphorical ability are very up there.
Give us a line, just one line.
Oh, okay. I mean, I wrote one today. I said, hold on, I gotta remember this one.
Remember. No pressure or anything. You got it. I believe in you.
Yeah, no, I definitely do.
So what's it about anyway?
I mean, so I mean, what it's about is pretty much honestly my ex, and this was just kind of a bar that I came up with earlier.
Can
But
we
yeah,
get the backstory about the ex, or we not gonna?
I mean,
You don't have to say her name or anything.
no, yeah, no.
but
So I mean,
you know
this
what
girl
happened?
really kind of broke my heart. I'm not really gonna lie about it. She took advantage of it and used it to her advantage, and that stuff kind of sticks with you. But I got cheated on, and so yeah,
I am so sorry. I swear I would kill my boyfriend.
it happens.
That would be the last day. But
Yeah, I
Something
feel that.
different.
Yeah, it just, I mean, it didn't work out, and like, and I mean, at the end of the day, you can try so hard, but at the end of the day, you're just not that person for somebody.
Okay.
Like, and that's kind of what you realize.
So when you said she took advantage of that, what do you
I think taking my kindness for a weakness.
Mhm.
I think I did a lot, and I think that as a person, I kind of like I helped her through a period that she needed to get through,
Mhm.
and I was there, and then just kind of took advantage of it. I mean, obviously by cheating on me and
Yeah.
all the stuff, and we had lived together too as well, so that was kind
Oh.
of something. So
Oh, that is terrible.
yeah, it was really bad. It was really bad.
That
But
sounds really hard. How did you get through that?
honestly, I wouldn't be who I was without my team. It was all my team. My team pushed me through that time. They made me stay focused, keep going, and also I was traveling a lot for the label at the time. So that kind of took my mind off it. Pretty girls,
Yeah.
half naked music video girls.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel that.
Yeah.
So how long did you actually date her for then?
About like a year to a year and a half, I would say.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
basically.
No. Yeah. Definitely.
Do you feel like she wasted your time, or it's just a lesson learned type of thing?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like everything in life is a lesson. So I don't think she truly wasted my time because I think she pushed me to where I needed to see clearly. I think
Yeah.
I think I
That's a good way to look
learned.
at it.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot from her. So at the end of the day, it's wrong and everything, but like she taught me a lot. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I
I
can
can
say she
appreciate
necessarily wasted my time. So
So let's talk about some of your weaknesses as an artist. What are areas where you kind of lack and your team has to kind of back you up in that because you're not very strong there?
areas that I lack. I mean, I can't shoot photos. I mean, like I love photography, but I can't like I don't see the angles that photographers see. So
Okay.
I mean areas like that. Things that I also lack is like I think the business side where my best friend Kate comes in, where there's like the networking, the emailing, and all that stuff. She handles that type of thing. I don't like doing a lot of
So
that
she's
stuff.
kind of like your assistant type of thing?
No, I can't call her my assistant.
Okay.
She's like one of my best friends. But
Okay.
like she's like the co manager of my music and who I am. And also I think one thing is sometimes I get off track. And I think that's what I need my team for. That's one of my weaknesses. Is sometimes I lose track of where I was.
Get you back on board.
Yeah,
I have that too.
they have to be like, dude, this is where you need to be.
I know, yeah, you need
and
a team like that.
exactly, yeah, you need a team that's gonna tell you what's wrong and what isn't.
And when you're being inconsistent.
Exactly,
too.
yeah, and when you're being inconsistent and call you out for it, because you're never gonna grow if you don't got people to reinforce that. Because you're not perfect yourself. You're gonna make mistakes throughout the process, but you need like a team to help you through that. I would say.
I can appreciate that because I've definitely faced some adversity where I could have had people telling me that I needed to get my stuff together, but nobody did, and so I just continued to fail until I hit rock bottom and I had to pick myself back up.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So I think just that team helped me not have to hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Start realizing before it was too late that like I had to turn back around. So
Yeah, I
I think
understand. So now let's talk about some of that adversity that you've actually faced in your life and how it influenced your music and how it just influenced you as a person.
adversity I've faced in my life. Honestly, I mean I've faced a lot of different environments in my life that I've had to adapt to very quickly, and I've faced a lot of, drama. There's been a lot of different stuff in my life that's kind of shaped me into who I am and to becoming this more independent person that I now am today. So I think like those types of things really shaped me because the adversity I say I would face with like family or with my personal life, I went through a lot with like I had a problem with drugs. I had a problem with drugs for a little bit, and that kind of took over for me and like in my high school era, and that was something that really kind of turned me into the person that I am today, to look back on that and realize the person that I was. So I think that was a big thing that kind of took me over as a person and made me not see clearly. I've had moments with family as well where like I look back and I wish that things weren't the way they are, but that's life. So
I mean, I appreciate you being honest because I feel like a lot of the time we have a hard time even admitting that to ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
I failed in this moment, but the fact
Yeah.
you're able to admit it to others and publicly even and say that, it's just great. And I can see here today, even you being here, having your team, that you've overcome so much, and I really appreciate that.
yeah, definitely, I appreciate that a lot. And I mean, and it's something you have to do. You have to look back. As an artist, you have to be your worst critic. You have
As
to
a
be the
person.
person. Yeah, you have to be the person that's gonna be like, wow, like I messed this part up in my life, but I can turn this into something better. So yeah.
So is music something you think you want to do for the rest of your life, or do you have other plans?
I mean, I love music. I'd always love to be involved in music one way or another. I mean, I'd love to release 4 studio albums, get signed, and then after that, see where I go after that. Because, like, people like Chance, people like those type of people, After
I love
Chance,
Chance's
after
rappers.
after Chance makes 3 or 4 albums, you don't know if Chance is going to continue to be an artist or just a figure in the media. You know, there's a lot of people that are just figures in the media that can do more for society, or they take a political approach to it. So I mean, actors take political approaches all the time after their careers. So I don't know. I mean, I have to get to that point and kind of reevaluate where I'm at, and if there's more influences in my life to continue to make to want to make music.
Okay.
So.
So do you have any other passions?
I mean, other passions, honestly, like, I'm starting to develop passion. I mean, I'm a big nerd. I'm a big nerd, to be completely
In
honest.
what way?
I love comic books. I mean, I can solve a Rubik's Cube in like 30 seconds.
That is cool.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
How did you
definitely.
learn how to do that?
I learned it in high school. I saw one of my math. It was actually an LA teacher. Sorry, but it was an LA teacher. He did it in front of me, and I was like, "Teach me your ways," type thing. And that kind of brought out that side of me. I'm big into superhero movies and stuff
My
like
boyfriend
that.
is too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've read a lot of comics. Shout out to all my homies in Cedar Rapids that are reading comics out here. So, but yeah, so I think that's something else. But
Okay. So do you have any other hobbies also?
I mean, other hobbies. I love producing as well. Like the aspect of like producing the beat. I love the engineering aspect. So that's something outside of just like the artistry side of my music and everything, and also like longboarding, skateboarding, video games. I mean, I'm a teenage kid, so there's a lot of different stuff, and yeah, there's other things, but yeah.
So do you have peers in your life that motivate you to do better, be a better person, just all around?
Yeah, definitely. I 100% think I have that. I think I have that all around me, honestly. I think I have people that are willing to critique me or be like, you know, you're wrong right here. And I think that's something that is huge. And I think that I'm
That
heavily
support
surrounded.
system.
Yeah, I'm heavily surrounded by people that want the best for me and have the best vision for me in mind. You know, they're not taking advantage of me. They're not in this for their personal gain. They believe in the direction that we can move. They believe in that, so I think that's something for me.
Who's the biggest peer that you think has helped you move forward or be a better person?
Oh man, honestly, the biggest peer, 2 people, Jaimin and one of my homies, Adam, helped me through a lot in
How'd
my
you
life.
meet Josiah?
Jaimin was actually my roommate. So me and Jaimin were roommates, and then just developed like this best friendship. We did like everything together, and he's helped me through so much. Like he's been there for me at times. He's seen me through situations, and he's always had my back. So like that's somebody that's always pushed me through that. And my other buddy Adam has been there for me at times that I've needed it, and checked me when I need it, and isn't afraid. He's the person that's always there as well. So yeah.
Okay. So tell us about a time that you failed.
A time that I've failed. Oh man. I failed a lot, honestly. I failed a lot. I think
One that was most maybe memorable for you.
one that was most memorable. I think I failed school. I failed school one time. And there's something that really happened with that. And for school, I mean, I've made decisions. I've missed classes because of music. I've sat at home and wrote music, and that's something that's really done that. And that kind of I left school to pursue music and everything, and that was kind of something that kind of.
Did you graduate high school then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I
You
left
went to college, or-
Yeah.
Oh,
I went
okay.
here for a little bit.
So you went to
then,
UNI?
Yes. I went to UNI, and then I left to go pursue music and to take a gap year. And then I couldn't get back into it because all I wanted to do when I was at class was be writing music or working on things. So
What was your major? Marketing.
Yeah.
Really? What was the interest in marketing then?
My interest in marketing was because I do like the business side of things as well. I do see it in a retrospect for like where that can be used in music and like in the industry, because like when I worked for a label and everything, that kind of opened my eyes to a lot. And I was kind of going to use that degree to get into the industry and learn more about it for my own personal gain. For the marketing purpose, I could use that for multiple different angles of what I'm trying to accomplish in my life. So.
Okay. So tell us about a time that you've succeeded.
A time that I've succeeded. Oh man, one of the best times I would say as an artist where like I really felt like this was something like that I wanted to do for the rest of my life was when I threw my first show. We literally we threw a show in this basement in Cedar Rapids. It was like a basement type setting. It was more like a hipster type vibe, and we sold the entire place out for my first show. Over 200 people showed up,
That's exciting.
and yeah, it was awesome. We had a VIP room. We had to stop people at the door, and like it was like
Very
you know,
official.
it was cool, and like everybody there was going to see me. You know, like that was something that like I felt like wow, like you know that was
Yeah, that you
that was
had
something that was
presence. They were
yeah
really
exactly.
all there for you.
And I heard people like chanting my name before I went out, and that was like a time I felt like I succeeded, and the money was there because I put it on. So
Do you have a rap name?
Clay. I just go by Clay. So
Clay?
yeah.
Okay, so
Clay or
it's
Clay
kind of
B,
like
whatever you want to call me. Yeah.
Clay
So
B.
pretty much, yeah.
That's cute. I
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
So if someone said, "I'll give you $100,000 to not do any more music," would you take it?
No.
A
Not
million.
chance. Nope. I can't do it.
A
Music.
million?
I don't know. I don't know if I could do it because music. I haven't went like a week without writing since like 15. So like doing it, it helps my anxiety. I have like ADHD problems, and music calms me down. And without music and that drive,
I have
I'm
ADHD too.
yeah. So
relate.
yeah, exactly. When I it helps me zone better. You know, it helps me zone and focus more.
Keeps you
And
sane.
right, yeah, and it keeps me sane. You know, it helps me when I didn't always have that motivational person in my life that directed me as a kid. You know, music always kind of helped me. I listened to like J. Cole albums. I listened to Kendrick albums, like Good Kid, Mad City. Those types of things really like influenced me, and the music made me who I am. So yeah.
Okay, so music has given you the chance to travel, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
Where have you been?
Oh, I've been to Pittsburgh, L.A. I've been to Indiana. I've done a ton of stuff in Indiana. Been to some other interesting. I've been down to Florida a couple times as well. I haven't done any other shows really outside of Iowa yet. I think I've done at least 6 or 7 so far in the last few years, like across Iowa, and we have more coming up, and we're going out of the state more. And I think that's the direction we're heading now. So yeah.
Getting more broad. With
Getting more broad,
worried about
expanding. You
That's
know,
nice.
you can. I love Iowa. Iowa's exactly like Iowa's where I'm
I
from.
was okay.
Iowa's it's where I grew up. I always have love for it, but you need to expand farther. You need to see things on a larger scale. There's 50 whole
Larger
states.
perspective.
There's 50 whole states. My music needs to touch every one of
You
those.
need to go
before I can-
international.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way I'm thinking, and that's kind of the direction we're going. But all the travel and stuff really it brought a lot out of me to make me realize like, wow, I need to get out more. You know, like
Yeah.
and then when I was traveling and everything, it all came together for me that getting out of here, going to different states, hitting other things. I'm going to Phoenix in a couple weeks as well, so that'll be really interesting. So.
Have you ever traveled internationally?
Internationally, I've been to the Dominican Republic. I've been to Mexico.
Just vacationing?
Yeah, just vacationing on both of those.
Okay,
But yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I'm leaving the country, so next year I plan to go to Greece. No big deal.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
But, yeah. So, kind of tell us, what would you tell somebody who wants to get involved with the music industry but isn't sure where to start or how to go about that?
Honestly, I mean, start yourself by writing music and learning how to flow, because I think everybody is not. You can't expect yourself to be. J. Cole didn't start out amazing when he first started. Nobody starts out with that. Like you can have a little bit of talent behind it. You can have like a voice or something like that, but you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work to get to where you are. It's just not magically gonna happen. You're not just gonna make a hit in a couple months. That's just not practical anymore. You have to dedicate yourself if you're gonna go into the industry.
Do you think that's what these new rappers are thinking? They can just spit a verse and
Oh,
just
I mean,
do it
100%. I mean,
5
look at you have people like Lil Pump who literally made a song where he said Gucci Gang 90 plus times or over
That's how
100
it
plus
irritates me,
times.
but I still
Yeah,
listen to it
no,
sometimes.
exactly. That's the thing. They realize that they can be more lazy with it, and I think do it yourself. Do it yourself. Learn your stuff yourself, because a lot of the time you're gonna get influenced by people around you. You're not gonna have like the ability to handle stuff better. If you aren't able to look at your own music and learn how to mix it and do all that stuff, it's gonna be harder for you. It's gonna be more of a process. You're gonna need more people around you. If you can do it all yourself, you're gonna go farther, and you're gonna have the tools you need to succeed, I would say. And I think that's what's taken me a long time to learn is that you need to start doing the stuff on your own. So
Be self-reliant.
self-reliant,
independent.
yes.
Okay, I can appreciate that. So, can you kind of tell us about stereotypes that you may have encountered as a rapper? Do people ever assume anything about you, like, oh, that kid's a rapper, so he must be this and this?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. The stigma of like I'm a local rapper is definitely a thing. Like that's something I'm a stereotypical white rapper, or like people like I walk up on stage and I'm like, oh, this white kid, like like oh, he's trying to be Eminem, like
Yeah.
you've heard, like everybody hears that type of things, and like you just gotta block that type of thing out. Where like you get into the stereotype of like people categorizing you or making fun of it. You just stay true to yourself and keep working through that. There's no reason for any of that. The negativity will always hold you back.
I agree with you. So, how long does it usually take for you to finish a track?
It depends. I mean, I finished. One of my biggest songs that we've released so far. I actually wrote in an hour, I wrote it in an hour, and then to finish it, like we had to go through the
What's it
process. Love Song. That's actually what it's called, and it's with my buddy Nato. He was great. He produced the beat. He's awesome, and he does a lot of different stuff, and he's a great singer as well. And so it was really interesting to work with him. But he brought it out of me in that setting where I could work at a mile a minute. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing.
You were just
And
that
yeah,
excited.
and sometimes it's a process. Sometimes it's quicker than others, and sometimes you really make a hit and you get it done in like 12 hours total, and it's mixed and mastered and done. If you go to the studio and everything, but sometimes it's a whole process because you have to wait on verses, you have to do all of that stuff. If you're working with other artists, or if you're outsourcing for beats as well.
What is outsourcing?
Outsourcing would be like if I had somebody else do a beat for me or sing a hook or like put a sample in a song for me or something like that.
Okay.
If
so
I
like
had
when Kodak says I got this beat from London.
yeah, pretty much.
That's
So yeah, when you hear like Metro Boomin, right at the beginning of those, those are like beat tags and stuff like that. So sometimes artists have to wait for beat tags to be removed from beats a lot of the time because artists outsource to YouTube a lot of the days. They do a lot of YouTube outsourcing where they pull beats from YouTube and then you have to buy the rights to get them. You have to put it on social media. You have to put it out on Apple Music. Get certified that it's not been done before or bought already. You have to get rights. So sometimes that's a process, but
So you have to copyright your own music then, right?
yeah, you copyright it if you're gonna sell it. I think if you do the SoundCloud route, you can keep a beat tag in there. You can do whatever you want with that, in my opinion, because then it's free. But if you're gonna sell it, you have to copyright everything, or else you're gonna get fined.
What platform do you use to get your music out to the public?
For a while, it was SoundCloud. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, all of that stuff now, and this next project will be on all of those. So there's definitely like SoundCloud. I always post all my stuff on SoundCloud just because if people still listen on SoundCloud, and I want to have a free version available to where like if you can't afford to pay 99 cents, if J. Cole wouldn't have put out Friday Night Lights for free, I wouldn't have listened to it. You know, so I have to think about that as well. So and then that influenced me in so many
And you
ways.
get paid for the amount of streams, right? Something like that?
You don't get paid for SoundCloud. You do not get paid
Not
for
at all.
SoundCloud. No, not at all. SoundCloud, you can pay for the service to check like your users and everything like that, and to see where you're outsourcing and stuff. But you can get paid for other ones on a certain like. But if you do Apple Music and that route, you do get paid. I mean, you'll get paid for your streams on Apple Music or if they sell on iTunes.
What percent of the money do they give to you?
Usually it's a high percent, but it all depends if you use TuneCore or get it all like certified at the
TuneCore.
label. TuneCore is the platform that most artists use. Honestly, nowadays everybody thinks that like if you can put a song on iTunes, like you're doing crazy things. You can put it on iTunes for $10 a month. You could put it on iTunes for $10 a month if you really wanted and speed through that whole process and get songs out. But if you wanted to get it like actually certified with your name and everything like that, get it on there, then you'll keep way more profit. But if not, they'll take like 30 or 40% off the top.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, but I mean that's what you pay to put the service on there, and if you don't have the resources to get into iTunes yourself, then you have to use an intermediate step. So.
Okay, I can understand that. Not really, but a little bit. So what do people who know you well say about you?
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
pass the mic to your friend.
Yeah, I'll see what he has to say.
This is Logan. This is Logan on live right here.
Clay, he's just a very energetic dude. He's really all around. Like he's bouncing off the wall. He always has the ideas. Like he's really good at initiating something. He's also like I'm always having fun when I'm around. Like it's hard to have beef with a kid that you have so much love for.
Yeah.
And he's provided. Like he provides for the team all the time. He provides for everyone. He does.
What do you mean he provides?
Like if you need something, he's got you. Like or if like even if you you don't have anything to do, you hit him up. He's got something to do.
And I think the direction of like where I think that people on my team or other people perceive me is that I try being a figure and I try helping out my team as well. Where he's talking about providing like I've helped my team out before. I've had my teams helped me out before, that type of thing. And so I think if people, I think I'm a good dude. I hope people like me. If not, whatever. You know that's really all I can say about it. But.
So, how do you think music affects a person's state of mind? I know you said that you have some ADHD and that it kind of, the music calms you down a little bit, so.
I think how music affects people, I mean, it can affect you multiple different ways. I mean, like I've had songs that have made me cry. I've had songs that have made me like bob my head or rage my head and like bang my hair type things, you know, like, I don't know. Bang my head, I guess that's the reference. But literally, the way that you interpret music is, it's all personal. You interpret music on a personal level. That's why I like it so much, because you can relate to things, you can grab things from certain artists, you can do all of those things from music. And like I can relate to what J. Cole says. I can relate to what people have said in the past. I can relate to Joey Badass's albums as well. So yeah.
Well, I would like to thank you for being on our show today, Clayton. I think you did a very good job of telling the audience who you are, and I think that we can be expecting that project to come out next summer then, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay,
for
we'll
sure.
be on the lookout for that.
And thank you for having me today. So.
Yes, of course. I just want to say one little thing before I go off the air. I've kind of been struggling with being my authentic self on the radio show, and I think that's something I kind of really honed in on today and focused on it. So I just want to give myself a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, definitely. It felt authentic. It felt very authentic, and I was having
like you're having an actual conversation.
Yeah,